Hi, I'm Rebecca Harris, and welcome to this edition of Faces and Places, where today we're going to be talking about disaster relief with the American Red Cross. And my guest today is Tawana Robbins, and she's visiting us today from Montgomery.
Yes.
So we just want to jump right in here because there's been so much bad weather happening lately and other types of disasters. And I know that the American Red Cross is always first responders. So please tell us a little bit about what you do, what your position is.
As the disaster program manager, I work with the emergency managers of the various counties within Central and East Alabama. And along those lines, we work to make sure that the community is prepared for disasters when they strike, as well as how to respond and recover from those disasters.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about what you have brought for us today.
Well, today I want to talk a little bit about on the disaster recovery side. When we go out as volunteers and staff and responders to assist those disaster affected clients, one of the things that we're able to provide for them is a comfort kit.
Okay.
And it may seem minimal, but when you think about losing everything,
Right.
You think about those essential items that are needed, and that's what's a part of the comfort kit. You have your shampoo, your soaps, your tissue, your toothpaste, toothbrush, razor, things of things of that nature that are essential to everyone.
Okay, that's a great idea. I know sometimes the community wants to get involved and they'll jump in and start bringing things in, such as water and toiletries and things like that. Is that a helpful thing for the community to do?
A lot of times, yes, because when disaster strikes, the community wants to jump in and help. One of the most important ways to help is financially as well, because we're able to assist those clients financially. With that, after a disaster has struck in an area, we're able to come in and provide immediate assistance financially to those families for lodging, for lost medications, dentures, eyeglasses, clothing. You know, you think of losing your home in a fire or a tornado, you've lost everything. And regardless of how much money you have, you probably don't have immediate access to it. So the Red Cross is able to provide that immediate financial assistance to those families.
That's wonderful. I know we have a family member who just recently lost her home. And it was amazing how quickly y'all jumped in and helped out. So we want to thank you for that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how to be prepared for disaster. And I see that you brought some things with you.
Yes, this is one of a couple of items that is essential to a very special program that American Red Cross has taken on since 2014. Since in 2014, an initiative started called the Home Fire Campaign.
Okay.
And the mission or the purpose of that initiative is to reduce the number of fire-related fatalities by 25%. I'm proud to say that since 2014, we've installed nationally over 2 million free smoke alarms.
Wow.
And over 680 people have been saved as a result of the smoke alarms. Yes, so that is definitely something to be proud of.
Okay, so is this what the alarm looks like?
So the one on the left there, the Life Tone, is a special alarm because it's designed for those citizens or residents that are hard of hearing.
Okay.
This is a free alarm as well. What we do is, as we go in and canvass the area and we come into contact with a resident that may be hard of hearing, we order a special alarm for them. It works similar to your alarm to wake up, but it's considered a bed shaker. You attach it to the bed, to the mattress, and it really shakes really, really hard. And then it also lights up as well. So it works it's synonymous with the regular standard smoke alarm.
Okay, so if we have a viewer out there that's interested in having one of these, how would they go about getting it?
Call your local Red Cross wherever you are. It's a free alarm. It will not cost you anything. You simply call your local Red Cross and request for someone to come and install it.
That's amazing that y'all can do that, and we appreciate that so much.
Absolutely.
Okay, now tell me about this one.
So the Kitty 10-year standard smoke alarm, it's our standard smoke alarms that are used by the fire department and usually that are installed in homes. It has a 10-year warranty, 10-year battery. And it works just like any other basic smoke alarm. You want to make sure that you're testing your smoke alarms. I say once a month, but you definitely, when the time falls back or springs forward, that's a great time to test those smoke alarms. You want to have at least 3 smoke alarms in your home in those areas that are around the kitchen, not necessarily in the kitchen, but close to the kitchen. And we're able to come out to your homes and install those smoke alarms, as many as you need in your home.
That's wonderful. And also, I know that the local fire departments work on that as well.
Absolutely. The local fire departments are partners, wonderful partners with American Red Cross. We're able to really get into the communities because the communities are very receptive to the fire department. And so usually they will go in and help us to talk with the clients or the residents about fire safety and fire prevention. And one of the educational tools that we're able to use would be creating a home fire escape plan. And that's when we talk to the resident about identifying the quickest, safest route to get out of a home. You have under 2 minutes to get out safely after a fire has started. And so most people think, well, I'll get out of the front door. But if the fire starts in the front, you want to go out of the back door.
Right.
But it get your juices to flowing and gets you to thinking about what is the quickest route to get out when a fire happens.
And I know so many homes these days have windows that won't open.
Yeah.
So it's very important to have those family fire drills, and the children do it at school and they're accustomed to it, so it's not really a scary thing for them. And you can turn it into a game and just have the children practice getting out if you have children. And also, if you have a senior citizen that's living in your house, it's very important also to practice with them and understand how you can get them out quickly too.
Absolutely. You touched on something that's very important. We use the children. We use the children because they will work on the parents to make sure they're doing what they're doing. And one of the programs that we have is the Pillowcase Project. And that's a program where we go into elementary schools and we target 2nd through 5th grade. And we teach the children, the students, how to be prepared. They get a nice pillowcase, they get materials that they're able to draw and color, and then they create an escape plan. And so consequently, they go home and challenge their parents to make sure that we have an escape plan, that meeting place that you talked about. That's one of the objectives that we cover in the Pillowcase Project. Where do we meet? Is it going to be across the street, at a neighbor's home? And where's our safe place? Absolutely.
That is wonderful. We've talked a lot about fire. Let's talk about some other disaster type situations and how the American Red Cross helps.
Okay, I'm sure one that's familiar to this area would be tornadoes.
Unfortunately.
We're actually in the middle of a disaster relief operation now with the tornado that affected Pickens County in the Tuscaloosa area. While we can more so prepare for hurricanes, we have a little more waiting time. Tornadoes strike at any moment, and they strike up at anywhere. The most effective way that you can be prepared is to become knowledgeable about tornadoes, and also to become knowledgeable about your safest place in your home, away from windows, the innermost room in your home. And also, one thing that I really did, honestly, I didn't think about until I started working with American Red Cross, is making copies of your important documents. Or keeping them away from home if you have a safe deposit box at a bank. But those are some of the essential ways that you can prepare for the tornadoes that may happen.
Okay, I also know that people have medications that are vital to their life. And so what are some ways that people can preserve their medications and make sure that they're prepared in case of an emergency?
They could, for medications or to help save medications, some type of protective box that may be able to keep that medication. But also, many people don't know that when a disaster strikes, Red Cross can help to replace those medications.
Oh, that's great.
And that's one of the other ways when we're providing immediate assistance. We provide for those life-sustaining medications. We can replace those, and we have nurses that volunteer as well as physicians, and we work with those pharmacies to get those medications replaced.
Well, that sounds wonderful. Now, we know that you have a lot of employees that have your full-time jobs, such as you, and we want to thank you for what you do for American Red Cross.
Thank you.
But we also are looking for volunteers.
Absolutely.
So tell us how we can jump in and volunteer.
Absolutely. I tell you, we appreciate our staff. I'm a full-time paid staff person. We could not fulfill the mission without our volunteers. Many people don't know that Red Cross is over 90% volunteer-led organization. What that means is we would not be able to fulfill the mission, which in part is to alleviate human suffering, without volunteers like yourself and the public. So we encourage you, we implore you to reach out to your local Red Cross and to become a volunteer. And if you can't volunteer a lot of your time, the great thing is you can volunteer a little time.
Right.
We're very flexible. If you have an hour a week, we take your hour a week. There's so many ways that folks can volunteer, from casework to being a blood donor ambassador, service to armed forces, which helps with our military community, and just actually word of mouth, telling others to volunteer their time.
Well, do you have to have any special training to be a volunteer?
You have to be willing and have compassion and care about your community. Those are the special skills. We offer all of the training that you could ever want, and we prepare you to go out and mobilize your community to respond in times of disaster.
Okay. Well, I know sometimes if a disaster has hit, people feel overwhelmed and they think, I don't know, I'm not sure, I don't know what I'm doing. But is there anybody on site that kind of coordinates the volunteers once they come to the site to help?
Yes. So once a volunteer reaches out and says that they want to volunteer, they will complete a volunteer application. We have a special line of service, the Volunteer Services Department, that will get them onboarded, and then they will refer them to the line of service that they have an interest in volunteering, whether it's disaster services, service to armed forces, or blood services.
Well, that's wonderful. So if we wanted to volunteer on a local level, where would we need to go to do that?
You could visit the website, redcross.org, and you could actually find your local Red Cross, which would be here, Phoenix City, and actually give them a call, or you can complete the application online, and someone will call you to walk you through the steps.
Okay. And one thing I think is important to talk about is we might not have signed up to be a volunteer, but the disaster happens. And is it okay for the community to just go ahead and jump in and start helping out?
We have a special place in our heart for what we call spontaneous volunteers. Absolutely. When the disaster strikes, there will be information that is given out to the media. You follow those steps, and we would gladly welcome you.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming out and talking with us today.
Thank you for having me.
And we're going to be watching a few short videos here. And if you have any questions about anything concerning the American Red Cross, I want to encourage you to call Tawana Robbins. Her office is in Montgomery, or you can visit our local Red Cross office here.
Yes.
And again, we want to thank you for what you do in the community too, because we have had some really bad things happen in our community in the last 2 years. And the people in Phoenix City and Russell County and Columbus really jumped on board to help each other out and show love. And it was just really a beautiful thing to see. It was really a bad thing that happened, but it was a very healing thing also. So again, we want to thank you for joining us today on Faces and Places. And I want to encourage you, if you want to go out and get some more training so you feel more prepared in case you have an emergency, or get your preparedness kits ready at home, practice your fire drills with your children, and just feel more prepared. You'll feel more at ease if you know that a disaster is about to strike. But then again, most of the time we don't know when it's going to happen. So we want to encourage you to be prepared. So thank you, Tawana.
Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure having you on the show today.
Here. Thank you again.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us today on Faces and Places, where you never know whose face you'll see or which place will be. Until next time.
Meet the Johnson family. George, Sarah, their daughter Maria, and their dog Scout. When a storm hit their hometown, their house was damaged. Many generous Americans wanted to help families like the Johnsons, so they donated to the Red Cross. Here's how the Red Cross puts a donation to work to get help where it's needed most. 90 cents goes towards shelter, food and relief items, health and emotional support, financial assistance, and logistics and support for our volunteers to help people start rebuilding their lives after disasters. The rest of that $1, about 10 cents, is used to keep the entire Red Cross running. It helps cover things like HR, finance systems, and fundraising. Thanks to the help of volunteers who make up more than 90% of our workforce, the Red Cross is able to keep our costs low. Thanks to the generosity of the American public, the Red Cross helps families like the Johnsons and thousands of others rebuild their lives after big disasters.
And all I could see was this big orange ball of fire. I mean, it was huge. I froze. I think I was in shock. The smoke alarm upstairs is what saved us, because if it wouldn't have been for that smoke alarm, we wouldn't be sitting here right now. That smoke alarm saved our life. People need to understand how important it is to have smoke alarms. Thank you, Red Cross.